When people talk about the most dangerous women in drug trafficking, it is not just about bosses' wives, but about those who helped sustain power behind the scenes. Claudia Ochoa Felix became known by the nickname Empress of Anthrax, built an image of luxury on social media, and had her name linked to the Sinaloa cartel, but ended up meeting a tragic end in Culiacan. But before understanding how that story ended, now take a look at the case of Adriana Meza Torres, the wife of Ovidio Guzmán, identified as a key piece behind the scenes of the Chapitos. Adriana Meza Torres was born in the small locality of Mesa del Rodo, in the municipality of Tamazula in Durango. The daughter of a farmer, she left a simple reality behind and ended up in Culiacan, where she met Ovidio Guzmán. Their relationship was already known at least since 2015, at the time when El Chapo managed to escape from the maximum security prison of Altiplano. The choice of Adriana as Ovidio's partner was not seen as something common. People close to the couple said that she had a strong personality, controlled many decisions, and exerted direct influence over her husband, who was seen as more insecure and reserved. After the arrest of Emma Coronel, Adriana reportedly gained space within the group known as Los Chapitos, formed by El Chapo's sons, Jesus Alfredo, Ivan Archivaldo, Jesus Guzman Lopez, and Ovidio. During the period in which Emma was imprisoned in the United States, Adriana was identified as a key figure in the group's financial movements. Her name began to appear frequently in investigations on suspicion of acting as a front and operator of financial transactions. Even without a direct arrest warrant, her influence was discussed inside and outside the cartel. Adriana maintained an active presence on social media. Photos alongside Ovidio, images at parties, inside the house with the children, and records of a clearly luxurious lifestyle. TikTok accounts helped spread this image of a boss's wife, which drew even more attention from authorities. In addition to her relationship with Ovidio, Adriana already came from a family linked to the cartel. Her father, Raul Meza Ontiveros, known as M6, was a trusted operator of El Mayo and was eliminated in 2007 in Culiacan during a confrontation. In 2019, Adriana was detained while traveling when agents found illicit substances hidden in her clothes. Shortly afterward, Ovidio allegedly made a direct call demanding that she be released. The situation caught the attention of authorities, who began to monitor her relationship more closely. Her bank accounts were frozen, and the Mexican government requested explanations about the origin of the money. Adriana filed legal actions to unblock the accounts, claiming that her income came from agricultural activities, mainly corn production. However, authorities alleged that there were no tax records compatible with the standard of living she led. Even with legal appeals, Mexico's Financial Intelligence Unit kept investigations active. In 2022, a judge ruled that Adriana's name should remain under analysis on the list of people with blocked accounts. Documents emerged about agricultural activities between 2012 and 2015, but doubts about the real origin of the money continued. Despite this, officially, there was no arrest warrant against her. When Ovidio was recaptured, the situation in Sinaloa spiraled out of control. Burned vehicles, roadblocks, and gunfights took over parts of Culiacan. In the first attempt at capture, the government even released him to avoid an even worse scenario. In the second, he was arrested and extradited to the United States, where he was held in a security center in Chicago. During the operation, Adriana and the couple's daughters stayed in the house. One of the girls panicked. Reports indicated that Ovidio returned to rescue them and ended up being captured during that return, after negotiating that his wife and daughters would not be harmed. Even without being imprisoned, Adriana Meza Torres continued to be seen as one of the most influential women linked to the Sinaloa cartel. Part of the authorities said there was no direct evidence. Another part argued that she was an essential piece in the financial structure of the Chapitos. In the end, her story showed that in the world of drug trafficking, it is not always those who appear with weapons who truly command. Sometimes power lay with those who stayed behind the scenes, organizing everything in silence. Mia and Olivia Flores became known as the wives of the twins Pedro and Margarito Flores, considered the arms of the Sinaloa cartel in Chicago. For years, the brothers moved millions for people linked to El Chapo, living a life that on the outside seemed ordinary, especially in the little village neighborhood, but on the inside was completely tied to trafficking. Court records showed that the family hid more than $5 million in cash under the floorboards of their own house between 2009 and 2010. That money stayed stored there for a long time until the situation spiraled out of control. Pedro and Margarito Flores decided to cooperate with the United States government. They recorded conversations and handed over information that helped dismantle much of the cartel's structure. This move ultimately led to El Chapo's downfall. While the husbands began living under protection, Mia and Olivia were left out of the witness protection program, and that completely changed their lives. Even claiming they lived a simple life, the two women were surrounded by luxury. Authorities discovered that they stated their husbands earned about $10 million per month. The money circulated freely. Part of that amount was taken from under the house floorboards and handed to a criminal lawyer in Chicago. More than $4 million passed through him. The lawyer, realizing the suspicious origin, contacted prosecutors and placed the money in a special account controlled by the government. Mia stated that in 2010 she had already told authorities everything and believed she had an immunity agreement. The government denied such an agreement, and the Justice Department decided to proceed with the case. Even without being officially hidden, Mia and Olivia gave interviews to a program called American Greed. They asked that their faces not be shown. They said they lived in constant fear, nervous, surrounded by security using armored cars and bodyguards. They claimed they knew they could be hunted for the rest of their lives since they were linked to two of the most hated men in the world of trafficking. Olivia had an even deeper history connected to that world. The daughter of a Mexican father, she began dealing with illicit substances very young, at 17 years old. Her first husband was eliminated by rivals. Shortly afterward, she began a relationship with Margarito Flores. Mia, on the other hand, had a Brazilian mother and a Mexican father. She grew up distant from direct violence and came from a family linked to law enforcement. Her father was a police officer in Chicago, as was Olivia's father. The irony was clear. While the fathers protected the city, the daughters ended up involved with those who spread chaos in the same streets. The Flores brothers operated like a company. Each had well-defined roles. One handled logistics and operations. The other negotiated with suppliers and distributors. They even moved to Guadalajara, in Mexico, after an accusation made by the DEA in 2003. From there, they controlled one of the largest distribution networks of the Sinaloa cartel. They used technology such as Google Earth to locate warehouses and safe houses. Everything was organized like a production line. After the husbands were arrested, authorities said that Mia and Olivia began spending even more. Trips, luxury cars, expensive clothes, private schools for the children, and even the opening of a cleaning company, curiously funded with illegally sourced money. Mia and Olivia were convicted. The government sought a sentence of at least 9 years. In the end, the court decided on 3.5 years in prison. In the end, the story of Mia and Olivia showed that in that world, danger was not only in those who commanded. Often those at their side knew everything, helped hide it, and still benefited. And when everything collapsed, neither luxury nor fame nor friends could avoid the consequences. Emma Coronel Aispuro was born on the 2nd of July of 1999 in Santa Clara, California, but grew up in an isolated village in Durango, Mexico. Her childhood took place on ranches far from large cities, in an environment where off-the-books business and illegal activities went hand in hand. Her father, Inés Coronel Barreras, worked as a farmer, but was later accused of working for the Sinaloa cartel. Her uncle, Ignacio Coronel, became one of the strongest names in the organization and was known for expanding the drug market in North America. From an early age, Emma heard conversations that mixed family and crime as something normal. Even so, she stood out for another reason: beauty and poise. Still a teenager, she entered local pageants. At 17 years old, Emma participated in contests in small towns in Durango. In 2006, she competed for a title during a festival in Canelas. These events were important in the region. They brought together local business people, politicians, and influential figures. It was not just a runway, it was networking. At one of those campaign parties, everything changed. Amid the music and dancing, El Chapo appeared. At the time, he was already the most feared name in Mexican drug trafficking. Witnesses said he crossed the dance floor and invited Emma to dance. She accepted. That scene remained etched in the memory of those who were there. Less than a year later, on the day she turned 18 in July of 2007, Emma married El Chapo. The age difference was striking. She, barely of legal age. He, over 50 years old and already internationally wanted. From that point on, her routine changed completely. She left a simple village for a world of guarded mansions, convoys of armored vehicles, houses with tunnels, and jets ready to take off at any moment. Emma began living mainly in Culiacan, the capital of Sinaloa. The city was the heart of cartel operations. Outwardly, she maintained the image of an elegant wife. Inwardly, she lived under strict rules, constant fear, and silence. At 21 years old, she gave birth to twins, Emily and Maria Joaquina. The daughters became the center of her life. Birthday parties were grand with luxurious themes, but always surrounded by security. While El Chapo spent long periods on the run, Emma lived waiting for news, waiting for visits, waiting for orders. In 2014, El Chapo was captured in Mazatlan. Many believed Emma would distance herself. That did not happen. She continued visiting her husband in prison. It was during this phase that serious accusations emerged. American prosecutors claimed that she acted as a messenger, carrying messages from her husband to cartel operators. Another accusation was even more serious, that Emma helped with the plan for the 2015 escape, bringing a watch with GPS to identify El Chapo's exact cell. That escape became worldwide news. A tunnel of more than 1 kilometer with ventilation, lighting, and even a motorcycle on rails. In January of 2016, Mexican naval forces recaptured El Chapo in Los Mochis. This time he was extradited to the United States. In 2019, during the trial in New York, Emma appeared every day in court, always well-dressed, surrounded by photographers. While witnesses detailed schemes, hidden fortunes, and international networks, she remained silent. The turning point came on the 22nd of February of 2021. Emma landed at Dulles Airport near Washington and was arrested by federal agents. The charges were participation in the distribution of illicit substances, money laundering, and conspiracy. In June of 2021, she admitted involvement. She asked the court for clemency, especially because of her daughters. In November, she was sentenced to 3 years in prison and the forfeiture of $1.5 million. The sentence was seen as light. Many suspected a silent deal with authorities. Nothing was officially proven. Emma was released in September of 2023 under monitoring. She said she wanted to live discreetly, but in 2024 she appeared walking the runway at Milan Fashion Week dressed as a bride. Part of the public saw it as a fresh start. Another part saw only marketing built on the past. Emma Coronel remained a figure surrounded by doubt. For some, a loyal wife. For others, an active piece of the cartel. And in the middle of all that, the question that never disappeared: where did El Chapo's fortune go and how much did she really know about it? That answer, to this day, no one has. Claudia Ochoa. Felix was born on the 15th of January of 1987. Before becoming international headlines, she was known as a model and social media personality. She became famous for eye-catching photos, always linked to a life of luxury. Sports cars, private planes, yachts, and travel were part of what she showed the public. She earned the nickname Empress of Anthrax. This began circulating in 2014, when rumors emerged that she had taken on a leadership role in a group of enforcers linked to the Sinaloa cartel, which at the time was led by El Chapo. Claudia always denied involvement with organized crime, but the image she built online told another story. On social media, many people called Claudia the Kim Kardashian of the crime world. She herself reinforced that image. She posted photos in bikinis, tight clothes, designer handbags, and appeared surrounded by luxury items. In some photos, she posed with weapons in flashy tones, such as pink and gold, which made the public even more intrigued. The content was not just about her. Claudia even posted photos of her own children surrounded by money. This generated criticism and increased the controversy around her name. Claudia's love life also became a public topic. She was linked to Jose Rodrigo Arechiga Gamboa, known as El Chino Antrax. He was a heavyweight within the cartel and commanded the group Los Antrax, a kind of armed wing of the organization. Despite the rumors, he was not Claudia's official husband. She was married to another man, known as El Chavo Felix, identified as involved with the cartel. With him, Claudia had 3 children, while El Chino Antrax was arrested, extradited to the United States, and later placed under house arrest. Claudia's name began circulating as a possible replacement for him within the group. Mexican authorities, however, stated that she was not officially under investigation. In September of 2019, the story took a turn. Claudia, at 35 years old, was found dead in a house in the Isla Musala neighborhood in the city of Culiacan, capital of the state of Sinaloa. According to official reports, a man who was with her tried to wake her in the morning and noticed that she did not respond. The local prosecutor's office reported that the team conducted examinations and found various substances in her body. Preliminary reports indicated that the problem was not the result of violence. Prosecutor Juan Jose Rios Estavillo stated that Claudia's organs had been compromised. Even so, the case was not treated as a crime at that moment. Even so, the atmosphere of mystery never went away. On the streets of Culiacan and on social media, many people doubted the simple version. Claudia Ochoa Felix became a portrait of an era in which crime and the internet mixed in a strange way. For some, she was just an influencer seeking fame. For others, she was part of something much bigger than what she showed. What remained in the end was the image of a woman surrounded by luxury, fear, and versions that never fully fit together. While the United States faced an economic crisis at the end of the 1970s, Miami lived a completely different scenario. The city received rivers of money linked to the illegal market. In that setting emerged Griselda Blanco, one of the most feared figures of organized crime. She admitted commanding a large network of illicit substances responsible for bringing tons of cocaine into the United States. What shocked people the most? The fact that it was a woman commanding a structure dominated by men. Police officers at the time said that no one expected something of that scale coming from a female figure. Griselda left Colombia in 1974. She fled a country marked by conflicts and arrived in the United States with practically nothing. She started at the bottom of the illegal market, selling small quantities, organizing routes, and understanding how everything worked. Over time, she connected with the Medellin cartel, and she did not stay behind the scenes. She became one of the group's main cocaine distributors in American territory. Many people connected to the criminal world claimed a curious thing. Without Griselda, Pablo Escobar might never have reached where he did. That phrase became almost a myth within these stories. Griselda was one of the first to realize that the cocaine market was growing very fast in the United States. While other traffickers still saw it as something limited, she saw an expanding business. At the height of her power, the consumption of illicit substances in Miami was almost normalized. Thousands of undocumented immigrants worked directly or indirectly within that billion-dollar scheme. The conflict was open. Everyone wanted a piece of the territory. It was a time when anyone tried to become a big name in that market. The situation got so out of control that the United States government itself had to act. President Ronald Reagan declared war on trafficking in southern Florida. The government sent a special task force, filling Miami with federal agents. Many said it looked like fishing in a stocked tank. It was so easy to find criminals. The city became one of the largest focuses of federal operations ever seen. And the impact was not only on crime. The money from this illegal activity did not stay hidden. It entered banks. Then it turned into loans for companies, real estate, and buildings. Condominiums began to appear out of nowhere. Entire neighborhoods changed their appearance in a short time. Houses and land were bought with suitcases of money. Real estate agents were paid in bags and travel suitcases. In a way, Griselda helped shape modern Miami, even without ever officially appearing as a businesswoman. After more than 10 years of investigation, Miami police and Dade County authorities stated that they had sufficient evidence to link Griselda to 3 executions that occurred in 1982. At the time, she was already 51 years old. Authorities claimed that, in addition to being a major distributor, she was one of the most violent figures in that scenario. The process was long. In 1994, she was transferred from federal custody to state custody. Between 94 and 98, teams spent years collecting testimony from former allies who agreed to testify against her. Instead of a sentence that would put her in prison for the rest of her life, Griselda made a deal. She pleaded guilty and received a sentence of only 10 years. Many found that unbelievable. The law allowed life imprisonment, but it ended up becoming a much lighter sentence. In June of 2004, Griselda was released and deported to Colombia. At the time, almost everyone believed she would not survive very long, given the number of enemies she made along the way. On the 3rd of September of 2012, Griselda went out to buy meat in Medellin, an everyday gesture without any sign of danger. She paid, left the establishment, and walked along the sidewalk as she would on any other day. But as she prepared to leave, a man on a motorcycle approached. 2 shots were enough. Griselda fell and lost her life right there at 69 years old. After surviving wars, prisons, and betrayals, her fate arrived in the most common way in that world: fast, violent, and without warning. The queen of illicit substances left the scene, but left behind a trail that still frightens those who know this story. Do not forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.